Hey everyone, welcome to Lucky Top Sports. This is Naveen, Josh, Andy, Frank.
What's up?
Oh,
What's
what's
up,
up, guys? All with you to talk about some different sports today. Well, I guess we'll start with college basketball, but Tennessee's college basketball season is over, so we'll preview the Final Four for you guys. We'll talk about a little bit of Vol fan bracket that's been going on Twitter. We'll talk about MLB, NBA, Masters, and best bets. So should be a relatively quick one for us today. But let's get started with the Final Four. We got UConn minus 11.5 against Bama and Purdue minus 9.5 versus NC State. Any thoughts there? Any initial reads for what's a good pick or who you think will advance? Maybe let's start with Josh.
Yeah. Well, we already know fucking Purdue's gonna go on and beat NC State. Unfortunately, the run of the Wolfpack. I'm kind of wearing my Wolfpack swag today a little bit. I know I look kind of like a lumberjack representing Wolfpack, but yeah, man, go Pack, go. I hope that they are able to chop down the tree like what I did there of Zach Edey. And, Foul Ming doesn't just, go to the fucking free throw line 1,000 times and, salt the game away that way. I would hate to see a Final Four game officiated in the way that the Elite Eight game was against Tennessee. You don't want to tune in to watch a boring brand of basketball like that. But I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be on brand. Everything with Zach Edey so far this year in Purdue has been on brand. They've been on their retribution, their payback tour. It kind of gives me the whole Georgia vibes of when they repeated of like nobody believed that we were going to be good. And like literally the whole year, the media has shoved Purdue down our throats as the best team, the best player. So congratulations to them. They'll move on to the finals. The UConn in Bama game, I don't like Bama to win, but I think they'll cover. I think they'll keep it close. I just think UConn's too good. And if I was UConn, I'd have a little bit of angst considering how the NCAA royally screwed that team over with their travel plans. I'm not sure if you guys are tracking, but they really dropped the ball on UConn. They being the NCAA of getting them out to Phoenix for the Final Four. A lot of flight delays and everything that come with that. And then they flew them out there on the cheap. Not a way to get a team out there. So probably got a little bit more extra motivation heading into that game. So give me Bama to cover, but they'll lose the game, and then NC State to lose. Unfortunately, I don't think NC State's going to cover. Purdue's going to win, and they'll cover, unfortunately. So that's my Final Four picks. And then for the championship game, I think it's going to be Purdue. I think Purdue's going to win it, and it's for all the same reasons that, unfortunately, we've all witnessed all year and seen in the tournament so far. I just don't think anybody has a big that can match up against Zach Edey, and the way he's officiated, it just makes it a tilt for Purdue.
Andy?
Yeah, I agree with Josh in terms of the who wins and advances for both the semifinals as well as Purdue to cut down the net. I do think both Bama and NC State will cover. Bama probably some nasty backdoor stuff. I can easily see UConn going on a run, but then Bama also their defense is sus, but their offense is one of the top offenses that we've seen. Very similar to like what we saw with Miami last year in a way, like the no defense, but got some upperclassmen. They run the pace very fast. UConn is on the exact opposite scale. They like to play slow, so it'll be to be seen who controls the tempo. If Bama can sort of do the run and gun D'Antoni style and tire out the UConn players, I think they have a puncher's chance. That being said, I think the UConn is just a better team, a complete team on both ends. And then NC State, I think the biggest thing really comes down to how much can Zach Edey bully in the paint against DJ Burns. All props to him. I mean, he knows what works in this level. He knows that he can camp in the paint and just do the little elbow. I'm just kind of curious to see if this NC State big is just gonna be like pushed around like the others, or him just kind of like I think Naveen mentioned on our reaction, just chose to woke up. So I feel like maybe that could be a factor. Like what if Edie's trying to back him up, but it's just not as successful like the others, and maybe the offensive foul will be a little bit more apparent. If that's the case, I think NC State again has a chance. Ultimately, I do think Purdue, it's not just Edie, their guards are pretty good as well. I think they'll advance, but I like NC State to cover.
Frank?
Yeah, I was looking at these lines. They seem pretty big for a Final Four. I mean, you don't see like 11.5 in a Final Four all that often, and 9.5. So, my read here, I mean, I do like UConn and Purdue both to win and play for the national championship, but 11.5 is a lot of points for a Final Four. Usually these games are a lot closer than that. They're last possession of the game type games, few point wins. I know I said last week UConn was going to, smoke San Diego State or a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But the thing is, Bama can score. So Bama can get back in the game pretty quick, even if UConn goes on a run. So I think I like UConn and Purdue both to win, but I do like fading the spread there. I'll take Bama plus 11.5, NC State plus 9.5. I think Purdue and UConn both win, but I would still fade the spread there just because it seems like a lot of points to me for a Final Four. I think maybe that you see like a 5 and a 7 point win for UConn, 5-7 point win for Purdue, something like that. So that's what I'm looking at there. I think the spread's just too big for a Final Four.
Okay. For me, I'll go UConn minus 11.5. I don't think that it's going to be close. And I also think that NC State is going to be plus 9.5. This reminds me a lot of NFL season where you guys were fading Patrick Mahomes every week and then getting cooked. And then
you think Purdue is the Chiefs, or are you saying UConn is the
UConn is the Chiefs, back-to-back champs. So yeah, I think that's the situation we're running into here.
Northeast here we go.
People trying to get cute, and we'll find out. I do think that it's going to be UConn spread and NC State spread. Unsure on NC State ML or Purdue ML, but yeah, I think it's going to be a way different matchup for Edey versus shorter, fatter guy in DJ Burns. So we'll see how that goes. If any kind of trouble will be there, but I think that 9.5 is too much on that end of the bracket for sure. Next up, we got the Vol fan bracket. Josh, I'll let you kind of take us through what you think is happening with this, and it was really cool to be a part of it. Can you kind of explain to I guess the fans out there what this tournament was?
Yeah, so this guy named Timothy here, we're showing his page. Just want to give him a shout out. He added Locky Top Sports. He also added my profile on there as Vol Twitter or Vol X accounts that are pretty active when it comes to all things Tennessee. But we're below the 1,000 followers, I guess, mark. Mm-hmm. And for lack of a better word, but he really wanted to be able to get people to grow their followers and then kind of unite Vol Twitter a little bit more. And I think he accomplished that. It was really cool. I connected with some people that we have a lot of mutual interest in. Even our page, Lucky Top Sports account, grew a lot of followers because I think we made it to the second round, and they put me out in the Sweet 16. So even the number one Vol fan can't even make it to the Final Four. It was very competitive. So it was really cool. I'm glad that he did that. Shout out to Tim. He's currently stationed or deployed to Germany right now. He's in the military. I'm not sure what branch. We direct messaged him to come on, maybe talk about it a little bit more if his schedule and his time will allow it. But he did it with just these accounts that were under 1,000. He also did it with the heavyweights, the ones with huge followings. So it was kind of cool to see both, and it kind of spiraled into other fan bases seeing it and copying it. I know that the Kentucky fans, they saw it. They didn't do it as well as Tim did on his. So shout out to Timothy. Appreciate you putting Locky Top and myself into the mix, getting us a few more followers, and that's obviously going to help not only our page but also our connections with Vol Nation overall. And this is a predominant Vol podcast. We cover a lot of things Tennessee related, and it's good to get actual followers that care about what we were talking about. So builds the brand and it builds the community. So shout out to you, man. We'll get with you and hopefully we can get you on. But yeah, man, I thought it was really cool. Andy, I want to pass to you because I think you were the one that was running. You were the admin behind the Locky Top Sports account the day that we actually first made contact with Tim, and just kind of talk to me about that interaction and what you thought about the bracket.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Tim, and thanks for your service. We also have an active military member in here, so it's good to see that we're building some community. I remember the days that Josh would be up at 2 a.m. watching Tennessee getting smoked by Florida and Afghanistan. So, I'm sure, I hope you had a lot of fun watching March Madness over in Germany. It's just like a random interaction. Again, this was when we were flying high, projected number 1 seed. And I think we just randomly came across on Twitter talking about potential seeding, which obviously ultimately ended up at where we are now, unfortunately, by losing those games against Kentucky, Mississippi State, and ultimately getting placed in Purdue's bracket. Otherwise, we could be doing a show probably in Scottsdale, Arizona. So that's unfortunate. But what is nice is that we, had this encounter with Timothy, and pretty cool to be a part of this bracket / fan engagement. So had a lot of fun coming across a lot of cool meme accounts. We recognize that we got ways to go here, but both in terms of the content as well as the memes. Some of the memes are just top
brutal.
Notch, man.
Yeah.
So pretty cool to see.
Cool. Next up, we'll kind of switch gears out of NCAA and hit some MLB. I can generally talk to this. MLB season so far has been shaping out just as you expect it to be, right? Like it's kind of like classic no era baseball. Like Red Sox, Yankees at top, Rangers at the former World Series champions also leading their division in the AL.
Tigers,
that's a weird one. Tigers up. Tigers looking really good in the AL Central. In the NL East, Josh,
your favorite team, the Atlanta Braves. So we're gonna chop on. We're gonna go ahead and run it all the way out to October and do the damn thing. But we got the Brewers and the Dodgers hanging around in the NL West and Central. So we got a big matchup with the Diamondbacks today, and NL West foe, and I think we're going to take care of business. But Braves country, it's great to be an Atlanta Brave right now, and I don't see that changing. I'm excited. I know it's still early. We're maybe 8, 9 games deep in the schedule.
Yep.
But But yeah, I know some weather's been affecting some teams' ability to play. Like I think the Dodgers are already played 10 games. I think Atlanta's only played 6. So weather's been a factor, but that's spring ball. But the further we get into the season, I think we're going to separate ourselves. And yeah, I did like what you said in the opening there, Naveen. This is kind of classic baseball right now. You look at the 6 teams leading the divisions right now, and Atlanta, the Yankees, the Brewers, Dodgers, Tigers, and Rangers, all strong. And then that pesky AL East with the Yankees and Red Sox. That's heating up. So a lot of good baseball to come. I'm excited about 2024 MLB season, and yeah, man. Again, great to be a Brave.
Feels like it's like a late 2000s or early 2010s when you watch.
Yeah, man.
Look at the standing.
It's like classic MLB.
Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles right there.
Reminds me of like 1996. The way the season's going to shape out. It's going to be like a Yankees versus Braves World Series this year.
Shut up.
Just so we can both sweat it.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. But the Yankees are looking pretty damn impressive offensively. Their lineup is absolutely stacked. I mean, you look at just their whole lineup as a whole. Judge, Soto, Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, you got to face those 3 guys in a row. I mean, those 3 guys, MVPs of the league in different years. It's like facing an MVP and then an MVP and then an MVP. That's the Yankees lineup right now. So it's dangerous for run production. I mean, if I was pitching on the other side, I would pretty much just pitch around these guys, throw sliders away, bounce a couple curveballs in the dirt, throw a high fastball. You want to get them to chase a pitch. Otherwise, I mean, you're just in trouble facing this lineup. But I would agree with you guys. I mean, to me, it seems like our childhood is like this season. That's the way it looks. Looks like Yankees, Red Sox in the playoffs, classic matchup. You probably see the Braves in the World Series down the road. They both have the teams, they got the players this year. They got the squads. See how it shapes out. But feeling pretty good about the Yankees so far. I thought they would go undefeated the first 20 games, but did drop 1 or 2.
Yeah.
3-0 yesterday, Frank. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it happens once in a while.
Underish.
They have to, mix those in just to keep the bookies honest.
Yeah.
Or the public honest.
Yeah, for sure. One more thing I want to bring up is I do want to shout out Spencer Strider. I do hope that his elbow is G to G. He's got to have an MRI today. I hope he doesn't have to have Tommy John, because he's a young pitcher. I think this is like his 3rd year in the major leagues, but he's really established himself as a good starting pitcher. And I really don't want to see Spencer go out with the Tommy John injury. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, he's good.
Shout out to him.
He's a tough pitcher.
Yeah, so we'll see what the MRI shows later today. Yeah, hopefully it's just like ice and Tylenol, and he'll be back in a couple weeks.
Cool. Yeah, also some lowlights out there. Like Marlins are 0-8. Mets are always a disaster. That's just in the NL East. Like, I think NL East it's
Brave country, baby.
It has the best and the worst. Like, it's kind of interesting. Like, I mean, if you have a really high record in a division, that means someone else probably has a low record. White Sox are really bad. A's are a dumpster fire. That's also just funny, like A's. They basically don't have a home.
Moneyball, man.
They have no fans. They have 4,000 fans showing up to games right now.
It's
imagine?
It's really bad.
4,000 people in the stands.
They should sell that franchise, man. It's been that way for our entire lives. What, 30 plus years? And yeah, I mean, and they got great color schemes, great unis, man. I love the way the A's look, man. They,
not the way they play though. Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. They look like Tarzan, play like Jane. But yeah, man, it's really sad. I think that the Major League Baseball commissioner should make the owner sell. It's just been abysmal. That Brad Pitt can't even go in there and save them. So
Over under on 40 wins this year for the A's. What do you think?
Under
Under 40.
Under 40?
under
I
40.
think they might.
I'll go
I think they might have the
over.
worst season in the history of Major League Baseball. The
Yeah.
Oakland A's this year.
For
I think
sure.
they might win like 17 games all year.
Holy shit! 17 games.
I would
Major
give them
League.
in the 30.
They are not good.
But I don't think they're going to make 40.
It's a Double-A baseball team against major leaguers, so
Yeah.
they're going to win a few games, but they're going to get absolutely shredded almost every game.
So what do you think that means
let's
for
bookmark
like?
this one.
What do you think that
Naveen,
means?
Let's bookmark this one, man. Come back and see what they win.
What do you think that
two
means?
and 2-37 to start the year. You know.
for the?
Go ahead,
Do you think
Naveen.
the run lines will be like 3.5, or 1.5, or 2.5? Like, do they have to manipulate that? Do you think?
I think they're going to start changing them to 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Against, I mean, you look at a Yankees versus A's, for example. I mean, how is that not 2.5? You know, if it's 1.5, you just pile it. But I mean, that's a team I would bet against all year. The Marlins, the A's, that's kind of what it looks like to start the year. As long as you have a solid team on the other side, those are going to be high percentage wins, probably over 70% this year. You know, you look at it, 3 or 4 months from now. But if you're betting -1.5 against the Oakland A's and the Marlins, and you gotta it's like one of my hockey strategies too, taking teams that are over 500 against really bad teams. So like the Yankees or the Red Sox versus the Marlins, or the Yankees or the Red Sox, or the Braves, versus these subpar teams. Those are always my bets for baseball.
Run lines.
Yeah.
Or the MLs. Okay, just run lines.
Yeah, usually 1.5 if you get it for plus money. Against a team like the A's or Marlins, that's usually a go-to bet for me. I always try to find the plus money in the easier scenarios where you're not sweating as much. That's kind of what I see to start off, at least those two teams to bet against.
Got it. Yeah, speaking of standings looking like our childhood or whatever, NBA is also looking very similar. Well, not the teams, but just how tight the race is. And admittedly, I haven't paid that close attention to the NBA this season, but just kind of looking at the Western Conference standings, and it looks just like it used to in 2008, 2009, 2010. It's like they've added this thing called play-in now. It's basically a wild card. So, 9th and 10th place even at least have a chance to get into the playoffs. And you look at the 10th place team, Golden State Warriors, 42-35. So they're 7 games above 500, and they're in 10th place. And then you look at the Eastern Conference, Atlanta Hawks are in 10th place. They're 5 games below 500 at 36-41. So looking at the East, Celtics are 14 games ahead of the Bucks, which is crazy considering Bucks traded for Damian Lillard. They got Giannis, but then they got Doc Rivers. And since they signed Doc Rivers, that team's been just falling apart. And then on the Western Conference side, Naveen's beloved Timberwolves are at the top of the standings right now, surprisingly. But then you look at the say 4 to 10, they're all separated by 3-4 games each, and really gonna come down to the last minute. I think for the ratings purposes, Adam Silver is probably gonna make one last Curry LeBron in the 7 and 8. It's just too much of a ratings banger for him to ignore. And they've been milking that since 2015 finals. So I think that's gonna happen. No other reads yet, but I thought it was just interesting to bring up how tight the race is. And obviously you have your typical Wizards, Pistons, Blazers, and Spurs tanking at the bottom. So it's
and you have the Knicks in it? The Knicks make the playoffs?
Yeah, they might get the home court so they're right now sitting at the 5th place, tied with the Orlando Magic. So they're both 7 games above the 500. And then what's interesting is 2nd place and 5th place only separated by 2 games. So they got 5 or 6 remaining games now. Knicks could host a playoff series, and I saw that the Knicks to win a series is right now at even money, I think. Even money or like plus 105. So they do think that Knicks will make the second round.
Do you
So
like?
I was gonna say the Knicks. It reminds me back when I went with John to the Jeremy Lin game. I was actually at that game.
Insanity.
The first game Jeremy Lin got in the Garden. We were sitting right behind the bench, and we're like, "Who the hell is this guy going in the game?" And he just starts dropping buckets.
I've actually went to one of the Linsanity games too, not the first one, but maybe like a third or a fourth one, and he just starts just going ape shit like nuclear. So that was pretty cool. New York basketball awesome, hasn't been the same since, like, just missing playoffs every year. So
yeah.
Do you guys like the play-in tournament? Like,
I think it's
I
an
honestly
attempt.
don't understand what the point of coming in seventh is, right? Like,
yeah. So if you're in seventh, you get 2 chances. That's really what it is. It's like a wild card, right? So if you're seventh, you get home court and you get two chances to make the playoffs. If you're eighth, you still get 2 chances, but you're playing an away game because you're playing against the seventh. If you're ninth, you could just lose once and you're eliminated. So like 7 or 8, you get 2 chances. 9 or 10, you have to win both to make the playoffs. I mean, it's no different than the wild card in the MLB or NFL. I just think like in the NBA, just like the number of games is kind of like in a weird spot. And I know like, even the Major League Baseball wild card, when it was first introduced, a lot of people didn't like it. But now it's like pretty baked in. So I could kind of see it. The problem I have is that, there's no like real division, like, at least in the major leagues, like you have the Yankees and Red Sox, they're like neck and neck. It makes sense that there's like a wild card. Same with NFL. Like, if you just have the 2 best teams in your division, like that's kind of like fucked up. But, NBA doesn't do divisions anymore. So there is, but it doesn't really matter for seeding purposes. So that's why I think it's like stupid. But if they were to ever bring up the division, maybe that could be more fun.
Cool. I think up next we got some golf coverage. Josh, you want to kind of introduce some of this Masters action we're going to talk about?
Yeah. So the Masters, it's the greatest tournament in all of sports. Not just golf. I mean, you think of the pageantry and everything that goes into the Masters. I mean, the Masters itself is a brand outside of just being in a major tournament in the PGA. I mean, Andy, I know a big golf enthusiast. Frank, I know you play a little bit. So the Masters demands a lot from its brand recognition. So, one of my favorite times of the year, a lot of great golf that's played. You've got all the greatest players in the world. And just think of all of the Hall of Famers that's won the Masters Championship. But I think this year, my favorite to win is probably going to be Scotty Scheffler, 5-1 odds. So I'm not riding the pub. I went and watched Full Swing both seasons, so I think my golf acumen is really high. And giving you this prediction that Scotty Scheffler is he's just playing really great golf right now. You'll have your typicals in there, Rory, John Rahm, the defending champ. But give me Scotty Scheffler this year to lift and just be prepared for a great week of golf. And green jackets going on Scotty, and that's what I see. Andy, do you have any locks as far as who you think is going to win, or do you think it's going to be some dark horse guy that's been playing well, maybe like Finau or somebody like that, that you could see come in and win his first major? Because sometimes we have a lot of those storybook winners at the Masters, which makes for great ratings and television. So
yeah, I don't think so. I feel like we get those random breakouts and at some of the other majors, like the US Open or PGA Championship, just depending on the course, right? But like Masters, Augusta, arguably
everybody's bringing their A game.
Yeah, and the conditions are very like predictable. Unlike the Open, where you could be out there just like windy as shit, and you're fighting against that brutal Scotland weather. Down in Augusta, Georgia, typically beautiful this time of the year. Obviously, there are some times where it's tough, but generally speaking, like it doesn't, like, you don't get lucky at Masters because it's the conditions are pretty even. Not a lot of wind there. I do think Scheffler is definitely the favorite at plus 500. Just kind of like looking through the odds, Rory at plus 1,000. That means you bet $100 and you lose $100. So don't even touch that.
Don't do it.
Is Tiger Woods playing?
No.
Tiger is
Nah. He's invited though, isn't he?
He was invited.
In there.
Yeah, he's in it, but he's in it just for his name. He's not competing.
Not playing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing, but
he's really not competing. Like,
I mean, if he's over 100,
my favorite golfer, but I mean, he's basically a robot now. With his knees and then the car wreck and everything that's happened to him, he's washed.
Yeah. So Tiger to make the cut. So for those that don't know, out of our listeners and viewers, golf is a 4-day tournament, or at least the majors are, and or most of the big tournaments are. And if you place in a certain amount in the top X percentage, you move on to the weekend round. So everybody starts on Thursday, Fridays, and only the top certain numbers make what we call the cut into Saturday and Sunday. So Tiger to make the cut is minus 140. Tiger to miss the cut is plus 110. This is where I think typically Tiger does, ever since he came back, we're not even talking about 2019 when he won it, but like last 3 or so years after the car injury, he still makes the cut because this is a course that he could play with his fucking eyes closed. And again, like the conditions are very, very, very predictable. The same course. It's one of the only major that's always played at the same course, right? And that it's a huge advantage in itself versus like, say you go play PGA Championship at Bethpage Black or US Open
the US
Pinehurst.
Open.
You're gonna play every like maybe 10-12 years at the same course, the major conditions. So I think when it comes to Masters, can fade Tiger. Similarly with Phil, Phil, even after moving to LIV and he's like 53, keeps placing top 5 at the Masters like last 2-3 years. So like those experienced vets, I think is if you can find like the props, maybe not to win because like that's crazy. Tiger to win is probably like 100-something to 1, and that's wasting money. But
it's not gonna happen.
But Tiger to make the cut, I think that's a good EV prop. Something like a Phil to place top 5 or top 10, probably not a bad prop either.
Phil almost won the damn thing last year.
Yep.
He was very close. I think he wound up being fourth or fifth. I can't. He was definitely top 5. Second. It was the second place.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew he was chasing. John Rahm came out of the kind of the bottom of the top 5 to come back and close it on Sunday.
Shot a 65 on Sunday. That's the experience.
That's unbelievable. But that just shows you kind of to Andy's points. Augusta National. If you go there and you rep it and you set it, as many times as a lot of these pro golfers have, there's no better feeling than winning the Masters. It's probably the best major in golf, in my opinion. You're going to get everybody's best performance for sure.
One thing, maybe I'll ask the group. So there's a tradition where the winner of the previous year's tournament gets to host a champions dinner the night before the tournament kicks off, and it's all the champions and the members, and they get to choose like what kind of cuisine, Yeah, so they typically pick like where they're from, like say like if you're Scotty Scheffler, I think he had like brisket and shit because he now lives in Texas. Even though he's from Jersey, so like last year it was Jon Rahm. So my guess is like it's gonna be like some like paella dish, if I have to take. But could be a fun. I think I've seen a prop bet on Bovada actually.
The menu is out, Andy.
The menu is out.
The menu is out. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's
Apologies.
tapas. He has Iberico ham, black truffle cheese, Spanish omelet, chorizo, lentil stew, chicken croquettes, and then that's his like tapas round.
Mhm.
Then he has first course is a crab salad, main course is like a ribeye or a fish,
Yep.
and dessert is like a puff pastry cake.
Oh,
So
wow.
what I learned that's interesting is you have to pay for the entire dinner. If you
Yeah, if you're the winner, yeah.
you have to pay for everybody's food. So
Oh, the clubhouse doesn't.
Heck
Wow.
no, bro. The
and
winner,
you can like you know how like
I mean, you
think
get
it's
what 3.5 or 4 million for winning. You know, it's all right.
you'd think like it's like a very set meal, but like they have this and they also have everything else open. So like someone can start escalating on their own stuff as well. Like there's this meal. Like also related to food, about the Masters, I didn't know until like probably like 2 hours ago, is like a Masters ticket for Thursday is $5,000, but like a sandwich is like $2 at the Masters.
Yeah,
So
pimento cheese, baby.
I didn't know that like they had like super cheap food. But I guess like their strategy is like they'll make the money from getting you in and also the club shop or whatever.
Well, so
the gear.
you don't have to pay that to get like, so they run a lottery every year.
Yeah, I know a guy that won it.
So like every year you can apply, and if you win the lottery, like you don't have to actually pay the 5,000 is if you didn't win the lottery and you wanna
StubHub
still make the Masters. It's like one of those hospitality packages, but like you can win the lottery and then you I don't know.
So
if you
how
have to pay
much of the
extra.
ticket goes to the lottery and how much goes to the public?
I think like 90% is the lottery, and then
lottery.
Like hospitality is for like the people that want to make it. But
I think if you're a member of Augusta National, they obviously you get a ticket. It's kind of like season ticket holders get like concert tickets and stuff to to whatever is going on. So I think if you're a member, obviously you get it, and then I think some of the members obviously they sell them, especially if you've been like a bazillion times.
Right.
I mean, that would be a great opportunity to make some serious coin.
Yeah. But one of the only tournaments that doesn't fuck you over with the beer prices, sandwich prices, also no phones, which I think is very cool in today's today's sort of environment where you go, everybody's got their phones up, whether it's a concert or basketball game, golf tournament, whatever. But Masters, no phones. So I think that also like makes it a pretty cool environment. And then they're very strict about like obnoxious fans. Like if you start like screaming and shit, they'll like kick you out. So it's very different. And then like Josh said, they try to go with that classy angle, which is very rare.
It's like Wimbledon a little bit.
Sort of, yeah, more strict.
It's like Wimbledon meets Kentucky Derby. That's kind of how I would describe the scene, the vibe, the haughtiness. I guess that's probably a good term to use. There's a lot of old money, new money, just money everywhere.
Gotcha. Cool. So I guess to wrap the show, we can go through some of our favorite bets for this weekend. I got two of them. It's lucky that we keep getting this scenario, but Luis Severino is pitching today again. So Mets Reds over 9.5. I guess like if we keep doing Saturday shows, like this is going to line up unless someone
Saturday pitcher, yeah.
So that's amazing.
Yeah, so that happens again, and also Rockies Rays. These guys both suck at pitching, so and it's at Rockies, so 11.5 is my choice. I think Josh, you had a best bet as well.
Yeah, I got the terrorist group organization known as Bamas covering, plus 11.5. Roll Tide roll. They're going to do their thing. They're still going to come up short against the Huskies, I think. Like I said in the beginning of the show, but my best bet is Bamas to cover 11.5.
Cool.
I will say, just in the spirit of the Severino and how we sort of talked shit last pod. I'm looking at the props now. In order, on top of the game over, Will there be a run scored in the first inning? Yes is -120. No is even money. I'm gonna take the yes there. Severino, Texas, 3 runs in the first inning.
I'd agree with that. Definitely getting a run scored. I mean, you might be sweating. It might be second and third one out, and
no sweat with Severino,
man.
I've watched the man, I think, like 5 times in Yankee Stadium. Every single time, just automatically start 3-0. It's just like unbelievable.
He takes time to get settled in every start. That's his problem. Yeah. So I think it's a good bet. Definitely a good bet.
Cool. Well, again, stay tuned for, I guess by the time we meet next, we'll know who our national champions is for college basketball. We will, I guess, be in the middle of the Masters. Unfortunately, we'll be in the NBA season. I hate NBA, but it's okay.
Even though your beloved team is at the top
still have
of the
baseball.
Conference?
Dude, it's all fake, man. I think it's all fake. It's a smoke and mirror. It's gonna be Jokic
Timberwolves
again.
are not gonna.
T-Wolves not gonna lift.
No, man. You can set your fuck to it. No. It's just got to be realistic about where you're.
First in the West, man. That's hard to do. First in the West.
Yeah, but I think just what I noticed about NBA recently is if you have to go and travel to Denver, it's just a disaster for you. So that's what I think. I think it'll be Nuggets again versus Celtics. I actually don't think it's gonna be Celtics. I think it'll be someone else in the East, whoever, maybe Bucks. I hope it's Bucks.
I don't know, man. Doc Rivers.
You don't think the Knicks are gonna get there
to the finals? I don't know.
Yeah, why not?
Knicks have to make it past the second round first. You can't talk.
I think all the players will be in wheelchairs by then. I've had Tom Thibodeau as my coach before. It's for 70
Randall's
games
out for the season too, right?
Yeah, Randall's out. 70 games into the season, it's good, and then it all breaks down typically.
Yep.
Either way. So yeah, we'll talk more baseball. Maybe we can discuss some college baseball coming up, and yeah, we'll always have best bets for you going forward. For myself,
Naveen, real quick before you wrap, we gonna do any Champions League stuff?
Yeah, we had a Champions League episode. I guess we can do another one. We'll do that. UFC 299 is April 13th, so I'll have a Circling the Square episode, or Squaring the Circle.
Squaring the Circle.
Yeah. Next Saturday as well. For Frank, Andy, Josh, myself, Lucky Top out.